In this lesson, we'll learn the ways to work with temporary files and directories in Python. But first, we need to import two modules. OS is a module with some utility functions for working with files and directories, and tempfile is the module to work with temporary files and directories. So this tempfile module gives us access to some functions that we can use not only to create temporary files and directories and manipulate them somehow, but also access some of their properties. So we can use getTempDir function and getTempPrefix function to check where our temporary files will be saved to, which directory, and then which prefix they'll be given. But of course, we'll need temporary file itself. So the way to create a temporary file in the most secure way is to use the mkstemp function. So this mkstemp function returns a tuple which contains an OS level file handler together with the absolute path to that file. So here I'm going to first define this tuple. So temp file handler and temp file pointer. Once we've done that, we can say equals, then temp file and .mkstemp. And of course, we'll need to pass a few arguments for that mkstemp function. First one is going to be our suffix. So I will be using .tmp, which is kind of logically correct. And then the prefix. So I want prefix to be test temp, and then also the directory where we want to keep that file. But in this case, we're going to be using our default directory, so I'm going to pass none. And the last argument indicates whether the file is text-based. So true in this case, it is. So let's open this file. We're going to use the fdopen function from the OS module. fdopen is pretty much an alias of the open function, but in this case, we'll need to pass this file handler to this function. The mode w+t means that we want to write and read this file, and also it is a text mode. So the text we want to write to the file is something like temp text data, and then let's read that information back and print it to the console. So we use seek to sort of point at the beginning of the file. Let's display the file content in the console by passing this f.read to the print function, and then of course let's close that file. And once we've done with this file, we need to manually delete it by utilizing the os.remove function and by passing a path to that file to this function. And once we'll run this code, we'll see a full path to the directory where we store these temporary files. For you, it might be a different directory. We can see the prefix, which is tmp, and then we can see the text, which we wrote to this temp file. But there is a more effective and convenient way to do all that. It involves temporary file and temporary directory classes. So I can use the context manager, but this time I'll be utilizing temporary file class. Here I will need to specify the mode parameter. So put w+t as well as tfp, and then we'll use the write function. And again, pretty similar code. After the write function, we'll use seek to move to the beginning of the file, and then again we'll print the content of the file using the read function. The big difference is that the file will be closed and removed for us. So when we'll run this code, we'll see some more temp text data, but this time we don't need to close the file or remove the file manually. And let's take a look at the scenario where we have to create a temporary directory because, for example, we have a lot of or multiple temporary files to store there. So this time we'll use the context manager with temporary directory class. So we'll supply no parameters to this temporary directory class, and we write as TDP. So this TDP is going to be our pointer. And then we'll construct the path to the file and store it in the variable path. And to construct this path, we're going to be using os.path.join. So then we put together this pointer and the name of that file. So temp text.txt. After we have the path, we will open that path, and we're going to open it with the write and read text file mode. So path, and then we'll specify the mode. Now we'll use the write function to pass some text, and then again seek to move our pointer at the beginning of the file, and then we will read it. So write the next temp text data, then seek, and now we print the content. And of course, when we've done that, we need to close that TFP because we did open inside that block of code for TFP. So here we're closing it. And now let's try to run this code. And as you can see, the result is very similar. And it's up to you to decide which way you find more convenient. So this was a lesson where we learned how to work with temporary files and directories in Python.